This is TWiT.
But you mentioned Apple. I want to go back to how you got started in this industry of technology and what led you up to launching and founding Live World and what that means to you. But you actually mentioned you did work for Apple. You actually worked for Atari for a short period of time. You started at Atari. Woo! Get a little points in my book.
1 year to the minute.
To the minute.
I knew I was leaving and going to Apple, and I waited 2 days to resign so that I could do it at 5 o'clock on, the 365th day after I had come.
You're that guy at the gas tank who literally has to have everything sync up and, on the number of gallons you have, everything has to line up, right?
Well, I just thought it would look better if I worked somewhere for a year before I left. That's all.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. But then you were at Apple for quite some time. I think 12 years. Is that right?
12 years, which at that time was a very long time. While I came, 35,000. The company generally had around 10 to 12,000 employees at that time, and 35,000 people came and went while I was there. When I left, there were only about 700 people there that had been there longer than me. It's great company, but not especially organized, also chaotic and all that. But I learned a lot. I had great experiences, and it kind of brought me to all of this.
Well, and you did have some interesting experience. I want you to share a little bit about that. First off, what was your role at Apple? What did you do? What was your core responsibility?
Well, I was essentially, my jobs changed a bunch over a number of years. Mostly it was product marketing and then marketing as I grew my career. Sometimes I was doing, strategy work for different groups. And I worked on a lot of networking and online communications types of things. And then ultimately I became the general manager of Apple's online services division, or internet services division, where we took Apple had created in late 1984, early 1985, an online service called Apple Inc. And this today, if it were around, would be considered the Apple industry's social network. Then we called it online community. But if you were in the Apple industry, you had to be on it. So if you were an employee or developer or dealer, if you weren't on it, you just weren't anywhere. And the whole company thrived and lived on it. And the tribal culture everybody talks about was nourished on there. The developers on the Macintosh, as great as Macintosh was, the tools weren't really very good, and they supported each other through that. So even in that respect, the Macintosh wouldn't have gotten very far without Apple Inc. being there to have developers supporting each other and things. So this division, we made this division to take Apple Inc. and turn it into a more powerful force to figure out what do we want to do in the online industry. And eventually we debuted a service called eWorld for consumers, which was sort of like AOL. In fact, we licensed some AOL technology and then built our own on top of it. We're very graphical and three-dimensional. And we also helped get salons started and some other different things like that. And really all these things were taking the cultural model of Apple, where you use technology in the service of an emotional experience, and extending it from that idea of one person, one computer, to groups of people getting an experience together. And at Apple, initially Apple Inc. was to improve the marketing, relationship marketing, customer support, and market learning or research. And we developed that over time. It was very powerful. And, I ran a whole division around that.